It was clear, starlit night. Before going to bed, I decided to leave the bedroom window open. Just then, I spotted a wand glowing in the dark. Who could this wand belong to? I wondered. Knowing that I could not keep anything that wasn't mine, I picked it up and put it in my cupboard, promising myself to look for the owner in the morning and return the wand. But the next morning, I woke up late and rushed off to school, forgetting all about the wand. That afternoon, when I returned home from school, I was in for a surprise. In my room stood the prettiest fairy that I had ever seen. The fairy sobbed gently as she looked around, as if hunting for something. Immediately, I realized what the fairy was looking for. Rushing to my cupboard, I took out the wand and handed it over to the fairy. A smile lit up the fairy's face. "You are a very thoughtful girl," she exclaimed. "I will take you with me to visit Fairyland." The fairy waved her wand and a fluffy cloud appeared. My heart was thumping loudly. Excitedly, I climbed onto the cloud and both of us flew away into the blue sky behind the 7-colored rainbow. When we landed at Fairyland, I looked around wide-eyed. The fairy waved her wand and a pair of large wings appeared on my back. I looked like a fairy myself. A little brook flowed nearby. Pixies were riding on the back of fishes. Everything was smaller than usual. The trees had doors from which little elves scuttled in and out. The toadstools had patterns on them. The fairy shook the dewdrops from a leaf and gave them to me to drink. When she clapped her hands, little pixies ran out with delicious cupcakes and scones, which I ate hungrily. We sat on a swing made of vines. Butterflies flew around us, fanning us with their wings. I felt rested and refreshed. The fairy took me around Fairyland. So much happening there. Young men on their way to work rode past on bumblebees. The ladies rode on dragonflies. Everyone was busy. We stopped to see what the tooth fairy was doing. She was packing a tooth in a black velvet-lined box. Next, we met the weaver fairy. She was hard at work weaving cloth using silk thread from a spider's web. The nurse fairy smiled at me. Her job was to take care of the animals, birds, and plants that were injured. We came across little hearts glowing around like bubbles. It was the love fairy, filling up the hearts of all the people around her with love. Our next stop was at the fairy school. Here, little elves and pixies learnt the lesson of being kind and considerate towards everyone. It was evening by the time we entered the Queen's palace. The Fairy Queen had heard about me and wanted to meet me. She was sitting on a grand throne, dressed in a gown made of the finest silk. Fireflies lit up the room. Birds sang and blooming flowers filled the room with a sweet smell. The Queen invited me to sit next to her. She even presented me with a crown and a wand of my own. My heart skipped a beat when she told me that I could visit Fairyland every year on my birthday. This was fast becoming the best day of my life. Then she called for her special bumblebee to take me home. With a heavy heart, I waved goodbye to the fairy. It had been a delightful day, and I did not want it to end. That night, I fell asleep, hugging my crown and wand, dreaming about my next birthday, when I would visit Fairyland once again.